Hey everyone, this is Jordan from Madtown Studios. Welcome back to the second half of my drawing for Sketchy Opinions. Before I continue, I think you know what I'm about to say. If you're new, welcome to the channel. If you'd like to see more, hit the subscribe button down below. And make sure to comment and share. So last week, I talked about a new announcement for an upcoming film for next year. It's not really good news or bad news, it's more like in between. Well, depending on what you think about the subject matter, which I'll link down below. But today, I want to actually give some really good news. At least, I find these some pretty good news. And these are actually movie announcements from Disney. And don't worry, this has nothing to do with any new live action remake, or any remakes for that matter. This is actually going to be pretty similar to when I talked about the new Soul trailer, as well as the trailer for Over the Moon. So Disney and Pixar have recently come out with news under upcoming projects. And the best part is, they're all original. I don't know about you, but I feel really relieved by this. So, what are these movies that are going to be coming out? Well, these movies are going to be Raya and the Last Dragon, Luca, and Encanto. Starting off with Raya and the Last Dragon will be an upcoming action flick, and is created by Paul Briggs and Dean Wellens, with the screenplay done by Adele Lim. Now, this one actually has a bit more news coverage. Back in 2019, it was actually announced at the D23 Expo. In which case, you probably have seen this concept art. The original date for Raya was going to be November 25th, 2020. Well, this year. However, though, due to the, beer bug situation, Raya is now being pushed to March 12th, 2021. As for the story of Raya, it's inspired by East Asian fables. It follows the tale of a warrior named Raya, who is challenged to search for the last dragon, named Sisu, who's a water beast who can change into a human. In terms of casting, Raya will be voiced by Cassie Steele, who's best known for working on Degrassi, The Next Generation from 2001. And Sisu the Dragon will be voiced by Awkwafina, who you all probably know from being in films like Jumanji, The Next Level, Crazy Rich Asians, and my personal favorite, The Farewell. In terms of music, or whether or not this is going to be a musical or not, it is not really shown in some of these articles. The most recent news came out on the article on droidjournal.com. It once again kind of gives a little bit more detail on the plot and how it will take place on a reimagined Earth called Lumandra. The movie will also be co-directed by John Ripa. Also, the main Asian countries that this movie is inspired by is Thailand, Vietnam, Cambodia, Myanmar, Malaysia, Indonesia, and Laos. In which case, the crew members actually travel to these countries to get the cultural and ethical details of the communities that will then be molded into the story. So, what's my take on this? What's my sketchy opinion on Raya and the Lost Dragons? Well, definitely just from reading of how much research they're putting into this and you know, delving into different countries and cultures, I'd say this is really cool. And I think this is really a great approach. Just a different story with based on just you know different folklores and fables from you know different parts of the world. I was kind of mentioning this in my Little Mermaid drawing the facts video, and I'll give Disney a lot of props for that. Not to say they wouldn't do it. After all, if you ever check out the behind the scenes of Moana, they went full on researching and working with locals in Polynesian culture to make the film authentic as well as fantastic. I don't know too much about Cassie Steele, mostly because I have never watched Degrassi before in my life. But overall, hearing her in interviews, she seemed like she can work for the title world. But Awkwafina, though, I have a lot of faith in her. She is one of my favorite performers. I don't have too much problems. The one thing I would actually kind of question though would be the final look for the characters, such as Raya. For some reason, looking at that art of her kind of reminds me of the first promotional art for Moana, which to me kind of looked like it wasn't official, you know? And in the end, it really wasn't official because then we got the final product and she looked completely different. So I don't know if this is the same for her in this. But that's really is it. Really no complaints. It still looks pretty interesting, and I will be at the theaters, if the theaters are open, to check out Raya and the Last Dragon. Alright, the next film I'm going to talk about is another upcoming Disney film, Encanto. Encanto will be directed by Byron Howard and Jared Bush, the directors of Zootopia. And we'll have Charisse Castro-Smith as a co-writer / co-director. So unless you understand Spanish, Encanto actually means charm. But most people will interpret Encanto as enchantment or spell. In terms of the story, it follows a young girl and her family in Brazil. Everyone in the family happens to have some kind of magical power, except for the little girl. You know, in terms of comparisons, just to go back to Raya, that movie reminds me a lot of an Asian version of The Last Unicorn, but in space. So with Encanto, it actually reminds me of this old Disney Channel movie from the early 2000s called Up, Up and Away, which pretty much has the same premise, the exception that it takes place in the United States, and instead of magic, is about a family of superheroes, with one of the members not having superpowers. If that doesn't interest you, get this. One of the main composers for the music will be Lin-Manuel Miranda, Alexander Hamilton himself. The man, the myth, the legend, the bastard, orphan, son of a whore, and a Scotsman. I dig that show. So yes, Lin-Manuel Miranda actually has been working on this since 2016. In terms of the release date, it is scheduled to come out in November 24th, 2021. So while this news didn't come out last year, it did come out early this summer in June. And since then, there really hasn't been any recent news about this project. So, what's my sketchy opinion on Encanto? Well, this also looks pretty promising. Just like Raya, this sounds like a potential classic. While Raya feels like a successor to Moana, this looks like a good follow-up to Coco. I mean, granted, these are two completely different stories from different studios, but I'm definitely getting that vibe reading the description of this movie, especially having a more Latin-based root to it. Having Lin-Manuel Miranda on board is a no-brainer. I mean, he's in a plethora of Disney projects for a while now, so adding him to the project it makes sense. So story seems pretty decent. Music-wise, I have a lot of confidence in that. Visuals, on the other hand, I got nothing. There hasn't been any kind of concept art or any designs or just nothing visual to show what the movie is going to look like. But I believe if they want to make it very visually appealing, they should use some concept art from Mary Blair, who actually used to work with Walt Disney for films such as Cinderella, Alice in Wonderland, Peter Pan, you know, all those golden films from the 1950s. She also did some work for Three Caballeros, which also has a Mexican/Latin feel to it. I think it'll definitely work for this film. But overall, I'll be checking this movie out in November next year. And now, the last movie I want to talk about today is not a Disney film, but a Pixar film called Luca. So out of these three films, Luca is the most recent one to be announced. This news actually came out on July 30th, so about 3 weeks ago. So as I mentioned before, Luca will be a Pixar animated film. It'll be directed by Enrico Casarosa, who you might know for directing a Pixar short called La Luna, which was a short shown before Brave in 2012. In terms of the story, the film will take place in Italy. This is a coming-of-age story about a young boy named Luca, who lives near the Italian Riviera. He develops a close friendship one summer. However, though, Luca's friend is unaware that he's secretly a sea monster. Casarosa actually has stated, end quote, "This is a deeply personal story for me, not only because it's set on the Italian Riviera where I grew up, but because at the core of this film, it is a celebration of friendship." In terms of visuals, we actually do have a concept art of the two main protagonists happily jumping off of a cliff into the river. Okay, that actually sounds kind of dark, but just look at the picture. It looks a lot better than how I'm describing it. Now, this doesn't have too much to do with the narrative of the film, but some people speculate that the name Luca came from the director Luca Guadagnino. Just a little fun fact. You can expect to see Luca on June 18th next year. And hopefully the date remains the same without any, interferences. So, what is my final sketchy opinion on this final news? Well, I would say is that the premise for Luca is pretty refreshing compared to the first two. Now, it doesn't mean I'm saying that the Raya and Encanto is going to be bad films. I still want to go see those. But But the two words that people describe those films are Disney princesses. Lin-Manuel was stating how he's working on the next Disney princess movie. And in recent articles, people have been saying that Raya will be the next potential Disney princess. And you know, I don't got any beef against Disney princesses. I really like Moana. I really love Tangled, and Frozen. Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. But for Luca though, it is definitely having that traditional Pixar narrative. You know, it has a very modern setting. It's the story about, you know, friendship, about two, almost, I was gonna say brothers, two boys, you know, having adventures in Italy, which is another thing I actually really can't wait for this film, is the fact it takes place in Italy, which is a very beautiful country. And, you know, with the gelatos, pasta, scooter riding, you know. And even with the addition of the whole sea monster twist, I still feel like it's gonna fit along with, you know, the flow and the feel. You know, it feels very easygoing. In fact, it's kind of reminding me a bit of Boyhood for some reason, and My Neighbor Totoro. But yeah, I feel like while Raya and Encanto feel more like a potential pieces for the whole Disney Princess brand collection thing, you know, this one feels a lot more like like I said, like a traditional Pixar movie, which we definitely need. Take a break with the sequels and definitely give us more of this. Plus, the Luna short was very pure, very cute, and which is amazing. In fact, I kind of remember that more than the actual Brave movie itself. So yeah, I definitely can't wait to see this next summer. But yeah, though, those are my sketchy opinions on these 3 upcoming Disney Pixar movies coming soon next year. But now I want to know what you think. What do you think about these announcements? Are you guys excited for the new films? Or do you have some beef on it? Tell me what you think down below in the comment section. And as I said before, if you're new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button down below and get notified for more new content. And of course, share with friends and family. And make sure to check us out on other social media sites. More specifically, Instagram, where we'll be posting new artwork. Oh, and one more thing. Tell me what you think about this this art piece right here. Give it a thumbs up if you like it. Give it a thumbs down if you don't like it. First time using watercolor pencils, but I hope it gives you a good froggy feeling. Anyways, I will catch you folks next time. But until then, stay happy and stay healthy. Peace.